Fiesta, The Sun Also Rises, is Ernest Hemingway's first novel to be published in 1926, thanks to which he achieved success. Ernest Hemingway was born in Oak Park, Illinois, on 21 July 1899. From his father, he inherited a passion for fishing and hunting, while from his mother, vitality and energy. His teachers immediately noticed his literary talent and encouraged him to write for the school newspaper. So, after graduation, he didn't attend university and started to work as a reporter for the Kansas City Star, where in 1917 he began his career as a journalist. In 1918, with the First World War, he volunteered as an ambulance driver and was sent to the Italian front. He was terrified by the trenches, where he was gravely injured to his feet and legs from an explosion. In Paris, he frequented the circles of American expatriates and was inspired by them for the choice of characters in his novel Fiesta, The Sun Also Rises. Despite all his successes, confirmed with the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1954, he found writing increasingly difficult. His pessimism grew and he was increasingly weakened by alcohol abuse and depression. He suicided with a shotgun in his Sun Valley home. His first great success, Fiesta, tells the story of a group of young expatriates in search of something stimulating to fill the void left by the First World War. The main character is Jake Barnes, an American who, after his deployment in the war, decides to work as a reporter in Paris. One evening, in a dance club, he meets Lady Brett Ashley, the nurse who took care of him during the war. The two fall in love but cannot be together. The story then moves to Pamplona, where Barnes and his friend, Bill Gorton, go to watch the annual running of the bulls. Here, Barnes met Lady Brett Ashley again in a bullfighting arena. The woman is with Robert Cohn and Mike Campbell, both in love with her. Lady Brett Ashley begins a relationship with the bullfighter Pedro Romero, although she is still in love with Jake Barnes, who cannot satisfy her love because of a war injury, which made him impotent. However, for fear of ruining Pedro's career, Lady Brett puts an end to their relationship. Meanwhile, Jake went to Madrid, where he received a telegram from Lady Brett, telling him to join her as soon as possible. When they meet, she confesses that she has always been in love with him, and Jake, who has always loved her, decides to stay with her. As regards the film adaptation, there are certainly some differences, including the title. In fact, the film is only called The Sun Also Rises, while the book is called Fiesta, The Sun Also Rises. There are several translations of this novel, some without The Sun Also Rises. Analyzing more deeply the content of both, we notice that the film focuses much more on the meeting between Jake Barnes, Tyrone Power, and Lady Brett Ashley, Ava Gardner, while the book gives much more space to the dialogues between the group of expatriates and the description of the bullfight and their travels throughout Europe. In the book, which in my opinion is much more beautiful and exhaustive than the film, all kinds of feelings of these young people who felt lost and live in a very difficult historical moment are much more visible. This famous novel, despite criticism for immorality and cynicism, was considered very innovative and decreed the author's international success, thanks to the themes it dealt with. It is considered as the cult book of the lost generation, the one that lived through the malaise and crisis of the values after the First World War. In fact, Hemingway expressed in this novel their feelings of disillusionment and sadness, and their continuous search of something stimulating. In each of his works there is the figure of the hero, and in this case it is associated with Jake Barnes, described as a brave and strong man, despite having become impotent after a serious war wound. Virility is therefore one of the main themes of the book, represented by the figure of the bull, regarded as a symbol of illusory virility. Other important themes are those of love, sexual pleasures, and friendship. Another relevant character in this novel is Robert Cohn. With him we have another important theme, racism. Cohn, in fact, becomes a professional boxer to obstruct the bullying he received when he was a child, only because he was Jewish. I chose this novel for different reasons. It is one of the first novels I read, and it is also written by one of my favorite authors, Ernest Hemingway. He is famous for his way of writing because he is able to make every event understandable to everyone. Reading his novels, it is very easy to identify with the story and becoming attached to the characters because they are always described in a realistic and pure way. But in addition to my appreciation for Hemingway's narrative style, which is subjective, I think it is a novel that faces themes of high importance, with great simplicity and frankness. Simplicity in the positive sense of the word. In fact, the way in which the novel describes the continuous search for something that can compensate the emptiness left by the war, through the use of many dialogues that make the whole things more fluid, is certainly the most incredible things. The setting also plays a fundamental role. In fact, the novel describes in a simple but effective way life in Paris at that time, but also in a realistic way the Fiesta of Pamplona, known for its ball fights and the famous San Firmino race with the balls. In short, I think it is a novel with 1,000 nuances, capable of making the reader understand all kinds of peculiarities of that era in a simple and effective way. Because of their many facets, I think that both the novels and the film conceal a profound meaning. At the beginning, the novel may appear as a simple portrait of the lost generation after the war, pages and pages full of dialogues that conceal a very precise meaning. That is, the search for a new life, for something stimulating. Then the story changes, and although the narrative style remains the same, the author suddenly manages to bring us more and more into the story, making us feel that we are in Pamplona with the characters during the fiesta. During the description of the city and the events, we can perceive the sadness of the superficial amusement of the protagonists, who, sad and disillusioned, seek a surge in trivial things, such as parties, alcohol, and beautiful women. I believe that the author's aim was exactly this, to present the novel as something apparently simple, and then to make the reader understand more and more the feelings of these characters, showing us step by step, event by event, their true side. Instead, the film gives a lot of space to the stories of these young people. All their amusement and adventures are shown, but, in my opinion, the same emphatic message doesn't emerge as in the book.